Hey, it's the Webmaster E. I've done this now 3 times for some reason. I'm a little rusty, but in any case, I'm going to do a tutorial on some of the advanced features of Joomla. Advanced maybe, maybe not, but point is it's some of the stuff to help you with on-page SEO or SEO in general. If you haven't seen any of my previous tutorials, check it out on this channel, and did a whole thing on both Joomla and WordPress on how to build and install one from beginning to end. Here are some of the plugins and different things I use. I'm going to go over 3 of them today. The sh404, the Google Structured Data, and then the JCH, which is sort of a speed enhancer. So you're going to use a site that currently in development, the CBD cover, CBD reviews, different types of things going on. So a site that's in early development, but a good test subject for what we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. Here we go. So as you know, or maybe you don't know, the CBD cover always has the index.php. There's always ways to get rid of that, so you can do that in the .htt access. But in this case, we're going to use a different tool for handling the structure of the URLs. And that is called sh404. Some of you may know about this, may not, but basically you can edit descriptions and titles and OpenG or OG, open data, open graph information on this on the internet. Similar to a WordPress tool, I forget what it was called, but the SEO tool for WordPress, very similar. You can come in here and edit tags and or titles and metas. For example, the home page, you can change this overwrites everything from the main root system, and the description tags, canonicals, keywords are gone. No one uses that. Aliases, social networking, you can put on Twitter tags, Twitter cards, a whole bunch of different things, and get into if you wanted to do head changes and things like that. So I know you can always do this in the main menu. As seen here, the CBD, everything can be done always here in the metadata, description, keywords. Well, why would you need this tool? Well, because sometimes you take over the site and you just don't feel like going through every single section, and you do an audit, you run a screaming frog, you do something, and you just want to get after it. And that you can do here with this tool. And you can come in here and just find the URL. So I only made one URL on this page. It was the CBD something. Here it is. Here's the actual URL, and you can get into it right away. Boom, come into it, change the title tag, change the description, you're done. You can create an alias. You can do the social stuff on it with the OG image or open tag, open graph image, so that when you share a URL, sometimes it's just a random image. Well, you can define that here, as you could do with WordPress and other things like that. You can also insert the Facebook information here. Very simple tool, very easy to use. And there's a whole bunch of other things in here for short URLs. Sometimes if you just want to have your domain name.com / contact me and change a big URL, you can do that here in the short URL. You can also do a number of things with aliases and 301 redirects. So if you're doing website audits and you need to redirect stuff, 301 redirect stuff, you can do that here. You can also enter canonical links, which all the stuff you use as tools for SEO. So it's a good tool. It's worth paying for it. I use it all the time on all my sites. So for this one, the next one I would want to get into is Google Structured Data. So as you know, Google Structured Data is an element, one of the ranking factors that help, maybe not, but help you get into the snippet. If you have your articles and things defined as exactly what they were. This couldn't get any easier. It's pretty much plug and play. Install it, turn it on. Right off the bat, you get your site name, the breadcrumbs, and the site links automatically installed as a default. If you want to get into more, you can go further and define different items. I just did one here. Let me just delete it because I just did it on the previous version. You can go ahead and here and say new and say, I want this to be whatever it is, and it's a can be an event, and in Joomla and the Google Structured Data will automatically implement what you need to do to configure that, hit save, and then you can just describe everything. So if you've used the Google Structured Data Testing tool and it says, oh, you're missing XYZ, you're missing the event availability, boom, you come in here and you can add one of the things. You can even say custom. No, I'm going to tell it exactly what I'm supposed to do. So all this stuff, a custom value, and you can override everything. So if you go into Google Search Console and you have errors, you can just say, okay, what's the error, for maybe you have a cart and the price isn't something, so you just come in here and be like, I filled this out, it's done. Now it's not an error in your Google Search Console if you feel that you need to correct that. It's a good tool, very simple, very easy to use. The last one here, and this is a very quick down and dirty tutorial, but I wanted to get these tools out there, and if you have any other questions, I'll do further deep dives on them. But the tools I use. Obviously, GTmetrix shows speed of a website. So for example, I use this cool tool, or it's actually a plugin called JCH Optimize. This may be common information, but let's take a look at it. So without it, if you were to come in here, you probably get, I just did this, so I already know the speed. It's probably about 2.5 seconds of download or final paint time, or whatever metric you use in here to determine where you feel you should be in site speed. Let's see where we get to. All right, 2.5, right? 2.5, you get an F, you get an E. These are all the things you're supposed to fix. That's for page speed. If you want to look at different things, why am I slow? It's a different metric. There's other things, the timing, the waterfall. People look in here and say, what's taking the longest time? What's the longest, what's the big problem here? You got some Amazon stuff going on. What is the issue? Well, you come back into it and you take this tool and you turn it on. Now, I've already gone through this. The default is actually a basic configuration in here. So if you go here, it's a minimum. I put it on optimum and I turned everything on, and I also turned on HTML minification to ultra. As default, it's on basic. I usually press the envelope here, put it all in. If you didn't, you might get maybe 2 seconds, but if you did it again, now it's turned on, everything's good to go. You'd probably be down to like 1.6 seconds. So you take a second off with this tool. It's pretty much a no-brainer. And that's without the CDN turned on. If you were to add the CDN, I have sites loading within 1 second paint time. And again, I know there's different options where you can say, use this speed, use this render, but I use it there. So it's 1.9. Depending if I ran it again, you might get 1.6. So it does take a second off, usually 9 times out of 10 times. There's different parameters per your website, which you might want to check into. And then obviously the CDN is going to help, probably 0.5 another second. I've gotten to them on Joomla websites. So people always say, Joomla websites, they load slow. No, not really. So now we go 2.5. What's going on here? Retest it. 2.3. So, I mean, it varies from, I've gotten it down to 1.6. This is another thing about this tool that I don't like, GTmetrix. Sometimes you're in here and it's like 2.9, 2.6, 2.5, and then you do it for a third time and it comes in at 1.6. It's crazy. But it's an overall relative number. And overall, the websites, this tool does help depending on how further you tweak it. I've gotten it down, like I said, to 1.5. Some sites load within 1 second with a ton of graphics on them, all compressed and everything. So the third time I run it, it's at 2.1. So you can see it's varying around, hovering around 10. So I would go in here a little bit deeper and start to configure stuff and see what I could do to ramp it up. If there's more things I could put in here, probably the extra thing I would put in here that's missing from, I'm not getting below the 1.5, is the CDN. And that's what I would use for, Cloudflare, Amazon Cloudflare, or different things. And that pretty much does it. If there's any fonts on here, there's probably Google fonts. This is a fresh install of a Joomla instance. I would get rid of the Google fonts or the icons and things like that. Those are easy things to get rid of, and you can usually see that in the waterfall as far as where see the fonts, two type fonts, different type of things going on here as far as loading time. And favorite icon, that's not really a big deal. What do we got here? Initial paint time. Some fonts. Yeah, it's mostly these fonts. I should have taken the fonts out after. But anyway, in any case, another good tool. If you need more information on it and how to fine tune this, let me know and I'll make some more videos. But thanks if you like what you see, subscribe, tune in, check it out. Thanks.